Hey YouTube, Chris Battle here. This is actually going to be the second part, but should be in the same video as the app review I just did on the LARQ app. LARQ is a kind of like a water bottle filtration company, but basically I had walked through the actual app on iOS since there is not an Android app currently, but wanted to give an update. First of all, just like an overall quick review of how the product's been working for me in the past 2 months that I've had it, and then also give some updates as well as just some final thoughts for now. So I think the first update I want to go over here when we talk about LARQ is going to be one of the things that I had in my previous video, which is a pros and cons video. Check that out so you can have context for what we're doing here, as well as the app review. But so one of the cons I had there was a future software promises piece. And one of those two future software promises that were unfulfilled was Apple Health Tracking enablement. And that's actually something that was very relevant to me and a key part of why I did want to get a LARQ water bottle. I was tracking that previously via an app called Waterminder manually, which not the biggest hassle, but if I can automate something, I'm an automation guy, so I'd love to do that and save myself whatever amount of seconds that was going to save me on a daily basis. So I am happy to confirm, as of I want to say last month, they did actually add that Apple Health tracking. So now whatever I drink through LARQ throughout the day is updated, and it actually seems like same day now. Previously, it seemed like it was like waiting till the next day to tell you, oh, you drank this many cups of water yesterday. But that is all now displayed if you want to in the Apple Health app, which is great. So that is something that has been delivered on, and that's great. Um, so kudos to LARQ for that. That's a huge one for me, more specifically for sure. And I know there's other iOS folks who are happy about that. So then I'd love to talk about, I don't know how I want to go about this because I know one of these is going to be a rant. So let's first start with things that I'd like to see improved on the current water bottle for sure, but definitely if they come out with another iteration. And one of those things is actually something that I went through in the app, which, like I said, should still be a part of this video. But basically, in the app, there's a feature called Quiet Hours, which stops this LARQ water bottle from LEDing at night. Sorry, the camera's going to focus on me, so it's going to be hard to see. But in this ring here is an LED light, and that LED light has many different functions. One of them is it blinking to just notify you, hey, it's been a while since you drank water. So in order to not get that to illuminate your entire room when you're sleeping at night, what you have to do is manually set up your quiet hours, which is basically the time which you're going to be asleep. So what I'd love to see is the ability to use that LARQ logo, which is the button. Maybe I press that 3 times and it goes into a do not disturb mode, which would be great. And I think that that should work in conjunction with the app, but I shouldn't require myself to go into an app to do that. Like I should be able to do that functionality whether I have my phone or not. It should just be something that happens inside the bottle. So that will be nice to have. And then maybe it turns a different color. Maybe it lights up orange or purple or something. That way I have a visual indicator if I don't have the app that, hey, this is doing what I want it to do. And then I triple tap that again to get it out of that mode. Or go into the app and press the button. But I'd like it to be also something that's independent of the app. So that's the first thing. And I can think of a number of scenarios where that will be helpful. I'm not going to list them all out here, but there's a number of scenarios which I think that can be helpful. And I think that could be implemented fairly easily. So hopeful for that. But then also, and this is a big one that hopefully I'm able to capture in the app recording portion. But trust me, it's something that I would love to see happen, and you probably would too if you've been in the app. I'd love to see a more fluid UI in the actual LARQ app and just a greater overall responsiveness in that app. Like when I view things there, it just does not work the same, and it's just a little bit slow to put it, to put in lack of a better word, and there's definitely a delay there. So I'd love to see that changed up, and that will be something that I would look forward to. Those are my two biggest things. And when I'm talking about improvements and suggestions for PureVis 3 and definitely the current iteration, these are things that I think are realistically that they like are realistic to implement, and they actually would. I could obviously say lower the price of filters, lower the shipping price of filters if I'm only getting 3, which I've talked about probably, so I don't want to rant on that here. But yeah, I could say a lot of things, but these are things that I think are realistic and could happen. So now let's get to what I think of the LARQ bottle and app system. I'm loving it so far, but I think there's a huge caveat to me loving it in a way, and I backed this on Kickstarter. So I've had it for like 2 months, but for me personally, it does all the things you'd want it to do. I don't have to worry about tracking my water anymore. That takes that off my back. It does all the things I want my water bottle to do. Double well, excuse me, insulated, so it's keeping things cold. I don't drink hot drinks through there. It would fog up the sensors anyway. It just doesn't make sense. But also in our particular town and towns that are close to us, like within a 15-minute drive that we frequent, there has been boil water notices for a long time. So this actually comes in handy for multiple reasons. I feel safer with it just with the double filtration and things of that nature. So it actually is coming in handy in that way too. So that's really cool. And for those of you who are bigger on the environmental concerns, I think there are some things that work out pretty well. Obviously, when you're sitting there buying filters that may come in plastic or, get on like there's obviously some nuances there. But yeah, I think it's great to not have to use plastic water bottles and things of that nature. So that's cool. Um, and yeah, I'm able to stomach the cost that's associated with it at this time, so that's great. And I love the way it works. I'm on iOS, so the app works fairly well. The delays are the only real problem I have with the app, and I mean that's a first world problem. And I'm loving my time that I've spent with the bot. That sounds weird. I'm loving the experience of the bottle and everything, and it works out great for me. But, and this is where I'll probably start to get a ranting on, I absolutely could not recommend this to anyone who's using Android. And I'll give you the reasons for that. So, LARQ is not a new company by any means. They've gotten a lot of publicity and they do well at marketing. They were even on Shark Tank, I believe. And when they created a filter, like what do you call it? A pitcher for, you used to see them in the kitchen, like a Brita used to do them too. But it's just basically a bigger water pitcher for like that you put in the fridge or your kitchen and it had some of these PureVis qualities to it. That was in 2022. That's when they promised an Android app. When I backed this LARQ PureVis 2 on Kickstarter in 2024, they said the new promises Q3/Q4 of 2024. Now, I don't remember the Qs to be quite frank with you, but I think we're in Q4 now, whenever this video is being shot. Maybe not. It's in October. I have a lot to deal with. I deal with fiscal years. I deal with it's just a lot. So either way, it's ridiculous. 2022 to 2024, that's 2 years. You could have already created an Android app by now. So it's honestly unacceptable to me. And I would never have backed this if I was an Android user for that simple fact. I don't care what kind of discount they're giving you. Even if they give you 50% off the bottle at this point, which would still be $60 probably, I would not take that as an Android user who cares about the software attached to this hardware. I think, like I said, I'm an automation person. Anything I can automate easily, I think it's worth spending money on for the most part. There's those special use cases, but yeah, I think that's great. But I couldn't do that if I was an Android user. So yeah, I just can't recommend this to anybody that's using Android, and that's wild. I think that's unacceptable, and I think they've had long enough to get out an Android app. Like they've created a whole new product since they promised an Android app. Like that's ridiculous. They probably created more than one. This is just the one that's on my radar. So I'm loving it as an iOS user, but as an Android user, I cannot condone buying this when there's no app. And I think the app is an important piece, that software piece, that helps us level up over other competitors and kind of helps it to be different, which is something some people look for. So I think without that functionality, it's unacceptable. So, and they've made, I mean, LARQ is not hurting, I don't think, financially. They have seed rounds, they have people investing in them all the time. People believe in LARQ. So I find it hard to believe. I went to school at one point for mobile development. I find it hard to believe they couldn't have hired some people to create an Android app by now and have the base functionality that we see in the iOS app and have that be able to go with, what is it, Google Health? Android Health, whatever it is, Samsung Health, something. It could go with all those probably fairly easily. So I think it's unacceptable. And anyone that's an Android-based user, I would not recommend this for. And that's sad because, like I said, I love everything it does for me personally. But yeah, that's a huge red flag. And since you've had 2 years, probably going on 3 soon, to create that app and ship that app, I don't have any confidence in that, unfortunately. I'll keep people up to date. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of my big pain points there. I think it's unacceptable. I've been loving it from my perspective. If you're on iOS, I'd say pick it up if you can stomach all the things. Go through my previous video that goes over pros and cons, and if you can stomach those cons, then I'd say go for it. But if you're an Android user, yeah, I just can't recommend this at all, and that's sad. I'd love to be able to do so. All right. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please drop them in the comments box. And hey, subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.